All right, Thug Rose taking on Joanna, not the champion. What a weird match. It's really hard to give an analysis of that. I mean, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So, we've already seen these gals fight. They're doing the same thing at the same weight class under the same rules, but yet we expect a different result, right? Even Bet DSI has Joanna, not the champion, as the favorite. And you can see that because she was so dominant, she was so tough, it was such a surprise the first time. And I find myself falling for that too, but then I got to remind myself, well, wait a minute, not only did I see him fight, and I saw Rose beat her twice. And if you go back and watch that fight, Rose put her down, the referee was about to stop it. The announcers were reacting, the crowd was reacting. I was at home watching it, I wasn't there live. And I remember thinking the fight was going to get stopped, and Joanna comes back up. Fight continues, boom, Rose beats her again. This is all in less than 5 minutes. So what was really interesting about that fight wasn't just the level of an upset it was, but like all huge upsets, Rose beat her at her own game. Everybody thought this was a classic match. And by everybody, I was wrong on that one too. We thought it was a striker versus a grappler. And I think that's what helped Rose's hands. I think Joanna was no different than the rest of us. I think her coaches and her team were no different than the rest of us, thinking, well, the only place I'm going to be in trouble is on the ground. And I think she was worried about going there. I've noticed that. A lot of times wrestlers will have a big advantage when the opponent is worried about the takedown. The opponent's hands will be a little bit lower. They'll be backing up a little bit. They won't be coming in quite as ferocious because they're worried about getting taken down. And it always opens an opportunity for that grappler to land strikes. I think that might be what helped Rose. I don't think she'll have that on her side this time, but it sure was interesting. If we're going to imagine that there's a turn of events here, I think we should also realistically imagine that we're finally going to get a fight we thought we were going to see, which is the striker and Joanna versus the grappler and Rose. And who wins that battle? That part we don't yet know. The script, the memo apparently didn't go out on the last one. Rose double-crossed everybody. Came out with some hands and some kick and some pressure. And there is something to be said for confidence. Both ways. Too much confidence, you get a little bit overconfident. You have something come easy one time, all of a sudden you find yourself in a fight that's harder than you thought it was going to be. Things change very quickly, but I'm very interested in that fight. I'm very interested in that division as a whole. I'm not certain we're going to see a change. I'm not certain we are. I think Rose has her respect. I think a lot of it's psychological. I think Rose has her respect. She's going to be able to throw those hands. And this time, I think Joanna fires back. And that's when Rose comes under and gets her to the ground. Let's see what happens. I'm not bullish on this fight. I think it's a very good contest. I didn't think it was the first time. I thought that Rose was a lamb walking out to slaughter. This time, I think it's close. I think I'm going to call the upset, though. I think I'm going to stick with Rose.